Hello, buddies! After a long time, we're gonna do a movie talk show, and this is Decrypting Movies, episode number 43. You're watching Medley with Maddie. I'm Maddie Dawson, and behind me is Jim Carrey. Yeah, you officially got a confirmation that is Jim Carrey, and you must be wondering, what movie is this? Is it a comical movie or it's like second part of Mask? No, this is something very different, and I think most of you would not have heard of. And fortunately, I think I was introduced to this movie recently, and I watched it with my friend, and it was so, I mean, so not so cool. You cannot say it's cool. It's so disturbing, and it was unbelievable to having watched Jim Carrey in such a role. I mean, it's completely out of his league, and he is a guy who does comedy, slapstick, and situational comedy, and seeing him on a thriller, mystery, suspense, kind of horror. It takes some horrific turns and then psychotic role, and never ever in any part or any moment of the movie I never saw Jim Carrey. It was completely a different character and absolutely wonderful performance by him, especially being a comedy actor to having pulled off this thriller role is absolutely mind blowing. Okay, have hold you enough. So the movie is, oh shit, it didn't work out. Snap didn't work. Yeah, this time it worked out. It is number 23, the number 23 by Jim Carrey. Not by Jim Carrey, acted by Jim Carrey. Yeah, I have never, personally, I've been a fan of Jim Carrey. I didn't go to Wikipedia and literally see all the works done by him, but I've seen most of his movies like Pop-Up Penguin, You, I, and Irene, and then that's multiple personality comedy, right, in a comical manner. And then like a lot of movies, Mask is where it put him on the map, and then Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. So the first part was released in the same terms as well as in the same, I think, 1993, 94. Mask and Ace Ventura was released, and after Mask he got really famous. And a lot of family films and comedies. So this Truman Show, one of the most interesting movie and concepts. And the only thing have not watched is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That is also another drama. I think comedy actors can pull off drama with ease, but then a thriller or psychotic and mystery suspense is difficulty. And I never expected this from Jim Carrey. There is one series where he's acted in a very serious tone. I started watching that, but I was not continuing it. But then this being a movie, I watched it, so it's really amazing. I think comedy actors can. Yeah, my voice is good. So let's get into the story. The description is given below. You can, I mean, the trailer is given in the description. You go watch the trailer. It's really interesting. So it's a guy's story basically. A protagonist follows the protagonist and a lot of characters, but then the central element is the protagonist. His name is Walter Sparrow, who's none other than Jim Carrey. So, as the name goes by, Walter Sparrow, he is a animal control staff, and basically he gets calls, gets routed to calls where there are disturbances by animals or birds. And in the beginning, we see that he doesn't like his job. I mean, he's okay to do it, but then he's not having a. He knows some stuff about animals, how to control them. Really, that's why he's in the job. But then he doesn't take a liking towards it. You know, the animals or the species, other species. So he gets a call where the, I think, a restaurant owner says that just a dog just sitting behind. It's not going away. It's very scary, and he comes to clear the dog. And then he tries to tell the story and try to get the dog tagged, but then it bites him off and then runs away, and gets enraged, but then he couldn't follow. He chases the dog, and it's in a funeral, and that's his birthday. So it's his birthday, and he was supposed to go and meet his wife somewhere, so it gets delayed. And so it takes him 5 minutes delay. So his wife is waiting somewhere, and behind there's a bookshop. So she goes inside, and she picks up a book called The Number 23, written by Top Secret. Very weird name, right? So she presents the book as the gift to her husband, Walter Sparrow, Jim Carrey. And basically, the book is what the whole movie is about. and that's where the book, that's the inciting incidents for you. So Jim Carrey gets this book presented by his wife on his birthday. So he starts reading the book, and then some weird story in the book. He kind of feels that whatever is happening in the book is basically his own life incidents, and he tells his wife and son. They initially don't believe it, but then literally everything in the book is somewhat resembling his own life, and it feels like everything was from his own life, and he becomes very psychotic about it. So basically in the book there is a detective called Fingerling, and he tries to solve a case, and there is the suicide case which is obsessed with number 23. And after her suicide note, this detective Fingerling also develops that psychotic obsession with number 23. He sees 23 everywhere, and he sees 23 all around his life. So the detective gets obsessed with 23, and so the detective also has a relationship with his co-worker wife, and this wife then has another affair with another doctor. So it enrages him, and the detective ends up killing the wife and the doctor, and basically he's afraid. So Jim Carrey, the real life Walter Sparrow, reading this book about this detective story, getting obsessed with 23. He also starts getting obsessed with 23, and he sees 23 everywhere, and he's kind of having this thoughts that his wife is also cheating him, and she's having a relationship with some other person, and she's afraid that he's afraid that he's gonna kill her, he's gonna kill his wife. So he starts digging about the author. Like, there is no other book from this author, and nobody knows where is this author from or who is it. So just this one book was somewhat somewhere it was published and it was available in that book, and she ended up picking that book on her birthday because Jim Carrey couldn't come on time, and the dogs keep following. The whole movie, the dogs keep following. So the Jim Carrey is kind of really angry with the dog, because the dog is what set all the events in picture, right? So if he had caught the dog on time, he would have returned and taken his wife, not allowing her to go to the shop and pick up that book. So he's really mad, furious, and sad that whatever's happening in the book is happening to him also. It's like its own story, and he wants to know who wrote this book. So he starts digging. He finds some names, he finds some address, he follows, and there's a guy in prison, and he thinks that the guy in the prison is a psycho, and he's the one who written the book as a confession. But then things take a drastic and very unbelievable twist at the end, and I was kind of expecting it, but not entirely. And the ending was kind of so good. I didn't imagine. So even though I was expecting it, I didn't imagine in a very elaborate way that this was the case. And it's kind of not happy ending, I would say, but it's okay for a very disturbing movie. As I said, right, these incidents are going to be like disturbing to you. So after watching this movie, you're going to end up possessed by number 23. I'm really sure of that. So even if you see 23 coincidentally, you're going to be like, oh shit, it's happening, as in like the movie itself. So yes, it's that kind of movie. It's not a horror movie, but then it'll leave you unsettled and thinking in your mind, at least for 2 days. Even now the frames and pictures are running, and it's completely out of his league. You will not see Jim Carrey in this movie. It's like a different actor has played out this role, and I think only he could have pulled off such a role. And still he's expressive. Still we see Jim Carrey's face, but he's not the Jim Carrey from other comedy movies that we have watched and grown up. Like we have seen him Mask, and then Pet Detective, and Pop-Up Penguin, and so many movies, right? Famous movies. But here it's an entirely different Jim Carrey. I think he reinvented himself for this role, and he's playing two roles within the movie. So when he reads the book and imagines the story, even in the story, he himself imagines as the detective Fingerling. So we see two shades of Jim Carrey. So one is the detective Fingerling, fictional character, and then the real life Walter Sparrow, who's the actual character. And then third, as I said, the climax will take a drastic turn, and then third you will see a different shade of Jim Carrey. The backstory is really well thorough and thought out, and I like the backstory, why Jim Carrey It gives the definition for the role, Walter Sparrow role, and who is he now, who was he before. So that's all very interesting, and I would love to watch this movie at least 2 3 times. As I said, I'm a thriller freak, and I like thriller movies, especially it's going to be a psycho thriller or science fiction thriller. I'm gonna be absorbed with it, and this is the kind of movie that I would like to watch it again and again. And I don't know why, for what efficient reason, it's rated really low. I think it's rated 6.4. That's so fishing underrated, and the writing and the way they have executed it, plus the performance from the actors. So there's not only Jim Carrey, there's this wife character, I do not know the name of her, and then there's this psychiatrist doctor, and then son, and the flashback scenes are in a different color grading, and the way they have portrayed that story from the book scenes, so that was really dark and unsettling, and the obsession. So they have, especially the cinematography, it kind of captures these incidents and events in such a way that it's like real life for you, and that's what where it just differentiates, or it stands out in a very unsettling manner. And yeah, you don't get to see, right? So in horror, it's just a jump scare scene, but in case of like psycho thrillers or suspense, it has to be, you should be also pulled into the movie, and you should be like a character, and that is what exactly we felt. So we are in Walter Sparrow's mind. We are like Walter Sparrow. Along with him, we are trying to figure out, how is this book so similar to my life, and who wrote this book, and why did the author, how did the author know all these incidents, is he related to him, something, so many questions, and then it, in the end, it gets solved. So I would say it deserves 7.5 to 8, I think. Yeah, that's the rating I would give. So 7.5 between, let's say, my favorite 7.7. So it's a very good movie, and having a familiar and popular face like Jim Carrey in such a psycho thriller concept is absolutely wonderful. I don't know why it's underrated, and why he did not continue to act in such kind of movies. It's amazing to see Jim Carrey on a thriller and serious movie, and I would have loved to see him in another 10 movies like this. So I think we have, or what do you say, Hollywood has used him as a comedy hero for long, and right now he's not acting in many movies because he's philosophically taking a journey. I would have loved to make many such movies with Jim Carrey. This Truman Show was kind of serious, but then he had his trademark comical gigs in it. So even though it was a very conceptual and aesthetic and what do you say, serious movie, Truman Show was still Jim Carrey's trademark comical note. So you could still see the hilarious and expressive Jim Carrey in Truman Show. And there is one series which I said he has acted in series. I forgot the name. I watched one episode, so I have to continue. Like, and now I have more respect for him, especially in series roles. So I'm gonna go back and watch that entire series. And yeah, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That is on my wish list and case study for so long. And it's a drama movie, so I literally prefer drama and save them for the last. So that's the reason I haven't watched. So now I have to go and watch that movie, just because how Jim Carrey is capable and potential of pulling off such series in tremendous roles. Yes, do watch it. It's not available anywhere, but you know where to watch it. So yes, this is very underrated and unheard of. Nobody knows about this movie, I guess. Like, not everyone knows. And this friend of mine who was suggesting me this, even he was saying, like, since you are into movies and you're making short films, I think you'll understand the movie, or even this even though it's unsettling and disturbing, and it may not satisfy you, so you would still understand the movie. I was like wondering, what do you mean by understand? And then when I watched the movie, yeah, not many people would like, it's the kind of movie which people would try avoid to watch, because it's really unsettling, right? By the end of the movie, you're going to be obsessed with 23. That's all I can say. It's not a horror movie, but then it's a psycho thriller with a lot of mysteries and suspense. So you're gonna be like hooked into it, and unless you're a thriller freak, you will not be into it. So yeah, do watch this movie, Jim Carrey's number 23. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. I missed it for like 2-3 weeks, and there was one week I was making like I did not have moved on. I didn't do stream. I sincerely regretted that. So yeah, we'll continue. After a long time, we have done a movie talk show. We will continue this every Wednesday, unless there's going to be a big picture. And yep, tomorrow I think most probably we're gonna end or complete Hogwarts Legacy tomorrow. So maybe next week we'll start a new game. Look out for the voting. And as usual, we'll have a new movie this Friday. Dream in Cafe. I've released the poster already. The guerrilla shoot that we did on a public cafe. It has come out really well. So do stay tuned. It's going to be a nice, breezy movie with a message. And yes, you'll love first outdoor shoot that we have done in a cafe, and we didn't even get permission. So I'm looking forward to the response of the movie. Enjoy it, and next week we'll catch up another episode with a very secretive and unheard movie like this, the number 23. Until then, you're watching Medley with Maddie. Who's the Maddie? I'm that Maddie. Bye bye.